Nigerian vote at the UN Security Council vote. I think I've read about an article on Facebook where the Nigeria Supreme Council
1 minute gone.
has actually commented on the issue. And I think our lecturer should please speak on this issue. It's a very serious issue as far as I'm concerned, as it relates to the vote on Palestinian statehood. I think we have to be more concerned about this because it's an issue that concerns the Muslims, and we shouldn't be quiet about it. And I think Modi too should be vocal about this and let Nigeria know that it's an injustice for us to have voted or not to vote, abstain from voting for the statehood of the Palestinians. Assalamu alaikum.
أعوذ بالله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على نبي المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I didn't expect less from our guest lecturer because that is his usual enterprise. May Allah elevate his life. But I want us to look at the issue from a different perspective. Let us ask ourselves, all of us here, including myself, are we under the law of Nigeria or above the law of Nigeria? That is the main question. All of us here, we are above the law. Don't talk about Sharia when you are talking about Nigeria. Forget about Sharia. Yes, you'll be shocked. But you hear that from me. But if you go back to the history of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad succeeded to implant the Islamic system in the Arabian Peninsula within the period of how many years? 23 years. Why? Because the people of Jahiliyyah, despite their diabolic, barbaric, and retrogressive way of life, they respect the value of Jahiliyyah. And when they were able to look at Islam and they discovered that Islam is superior, within the period of 23 years, Islam turned around their lives. In Nigeria, nobody respects the law operating in Nigeria. Everybody is above the law. And that is why, that is my concern about Nigeria. If you look at the theory of nafs, propounded by the scholars, nafsul amara, nafsul lawama, nafsul mulhima, nafsul mutmahinna, nafsul rodiya, nafsul mardiya, and al-firdaus. Those are the 7 levels of human spirit. The first spirit is nafsul amara. The nafsul that command man to be animalistic. So there is nowhere you will not find corruption. Anywhere you go. Britain, America, Saudi Arabia. So if you talk about problem of Nigeria, oh, Nigerian leaders are corrupt. Nigerian leaders are rogues. Everywhere in the world, everybody is rogue. Everybody is corrupt. The only thing that can put that into check is if we agree to abide by the value we have adopted. Let me give you an example. They are saying that Nigeria is a secular state. To me, I have had a course to have discussion with Abdullah Naim. Abdullah Naim is a Sudanese scholar. He's based in Emory University in USA. If you can go and check on Google, you will see his scholars. Mahmoud Toha, the way Mahmoud Toha was killed, yes, in Sudan. But I told Abdullah Naim that because he's a pioneer of secularism, but let me tell you, even secularism in Nigeria allow you to operate in Nigeria, and let's see what happens. The point is this: we say Nigeria is a secular state. On Sunday, we go on holidays. Just innocent child putting on scarf, we deny him. We say we are secular state. Secular state, we are sponsoring thousands to perform pilgrimage in Mecca and Jerusalem, and we are secular state. Look, if you look at how the Western world are developing, it is because everybody is under the law. All of us here, if you count the number of offenses we have committed before reaching here, if the police arrest any of us, we will start quickly to see how we get ourselves out of it. But go back to the issue of Islam. When Umar or Ali was accused of stealing a coat of arms, he submitted himself to the rule of law. He was brought to the court like ordinary human being. He was tried, and when the judge eventually came to his conclusion, he said, the commander-in-chief of Islamic State, from evidence before me, you are guilty of the case. And he admitted it was the person who accused him, a Jewish man, that later on confessed that he was concocted lie against Amir al-Mu'minin. And then he confessed and accepted Islam. How many of us here is ready to submit himself to the rule of law? Forget about Sharia. Even the constitution we have. Everybody is above the law. And that is why we are in problem. There is nothing you can do about it. The army general, the others, the ODs, the emirs, the religious scholars, everybody, even including all of us here, myself included, we are above the law. Let us start from there. If we can solve that problem, then we are going to the higher level of allowing the law of Allah to raise us to the level of Radiya, Mutmahinna, Radiya, Maridiya, and Al-Jannat al-Firdaus. What I'm saying is this. Before I drop the microphone, let us agree to live by the value we have adopted, and that is the law that we have agreed to abide by. If we do that, you cannot arrest anybody who embezzles the money because it's above the law. If I give you an example of what is happening in the Western world now, and that is what they borrow from Islam. They saw that the only thing you can have development, you can move on, is to put everybody under the law. If everybody also is under the law, even the law of the land, you will see changes that we are expecting. May Allah get us right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My comment is, I noticed that we Muslims, we are foremost lamenting Nigeria's problems. They are always the ones that least most come to lament that there is a bad country, there is this and there is that. However, speaking with the scholar once, he told me that the only people who fear Allah, who fear God in the sincere manner on earth now are the Muslims, because they know and believe with sincere mind that there is no judgment. And because of that, Muslims actually watch their actions properly. If you notice, most of the time, those who are actually morally conscious of what they do are the few Muslims among us. What am I saying? Nigeria is bad because majorly the Muslims are feeling our responsibility. In all the small positions that we are, when we see evil, one, we either participate in it, or two, we keep short. And we keep allowing it to go on and on. And the few examples of Muslims who are doing good, we find it difficult to support them properly. It's very difficult for somebody to be alone as an individual and change things a lot. I was telling somebody that even if Buhari becomes the president, things will not change overnight. To take these 15 good years. Because the people on ground don't want those things to occur. And it starts for those of us who fear Allah most. Because we know in our hearts sincerely that we are allowed access of these things. So in our small opportunities that we should do, we should actually try and start creating those changes. Let them start saying, somebody said now that it's the Muslim that I don't like. Then one day they say it's Muslim doctors that do well, and then they say it's Muslim engineers. Like that will keep changing and changing. And with that, people will start trusting us better. The time will come and say that if it's that, to give it to the Muslim. If it's that, we should give it to the Muslim. If we get to that level, we don't need to tell people that give us this, they'll give it to us. We do not need to. Second is that I also believe that as Muslims, we need to raise our influence level. One thing that we have in Nigeria, we are not influential. We said Muslims are not influential. In things that happen, they don't make decisions because Muslims are there. We just, okay, let us consider it. A simple example is the hijab. If we Muslims in Lagos today decide I want to get hijab today, we will get it today. But most of us just talk about it and keep short. And then most of our leaders upstairs, they're always diplomatic with those things. These are things that they are fundamental to us. And until we demand for the fundamental, we don't need to fight, we need to argue. We know Muslims are in power. Even at the least opportunity that we see them regularly, we know how we can push them. But because we always want to be diplomatic, we want to be appearing as if we are understanding. And you cannot appear understanding until they are fundamental to you. If something is fundamental to me, you can expect me to leave it to somebody else. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I have a comment. When my brother was giving his lecture, he said that some of us will ask as children to study law, to study banking, without giving allowance to religious studies. And my own comment is that it is not bad, it is not wrong for us to encourage our children to study law, banking, this and that. The most important thing, you don't have to ask a child to study Islamic studies as a profession before you can propagate Islam. Because if you bring up your children with the Islamic orientation, they can even be a lawyer, you can propagate Islam among your profession and represent Islam well and to the betterment of our religion, rather than for you to be just on a narrow line of Islamic study. If you want to be a professor like my brother here, yes, we will need professors. Yes, we will need teachers in Islam. But I think that Islam is more than just going one line. That apart from, you can be a lawyer and still be a professional and still propagate Islam. That's where I'm going. That there is nothing wrong per se, and we should even encourage it. What is important is that from cradle to grave, we keep teaching our children Islam, and they must not stop learning Islam. They must not stop propagating Islam. There is nothing stopping us as we are having a lecture here, that we have our children there, and we have somebody who is learning the children and teaching them Islam. Islam is a way of life, not just a profession. That's my own stand on it. That we should combine both and do it critically so that we can propagate Islam more, not just narrowly that it's only scholars that can propagate Islam. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please, I want to firstly create the indulgence of the house. So on behalf of us, say thank you to my life professor, Professor Akintola. As he said during his lecture, I can say it boldly that at least in my stages of education, I have passed through 3 stages. First degree, masters, and PhD level. He has never for once, and I have never for once offered him a time. Neither has he given the impression that he needs something from me. And I'm on my final chapter of my PhD. So, Professor, please keep on the good works. Elisha was not dispensing you. I think the purpose of today's lecture is to assess the Muslims in the post-independent era, if I may get it right, and then know where we have headed and where we need to go forward. And that is part of what he has done for us. But personally, I want to say that it is not about government alone or people in authority alone. Authority starts from your home as an individual. As the head of the family, what have you done to make or man Nigeria after independence? That is the question we should ask ourselves. And this is why I want to appeal or advise that we should go back to the basics as Muslims. We have our character, we have the way we have been brought up as Muslims. Even as young as we are presently, we knew during our MSS days, we know that as a Muslim brother or sister, there are certain characters which you must not exhibit outside. Because people will know you and say, and for that, you want to cherish your name, you want to cherish your religion, you want to protect the interests of Islam in you. You don't want people to give Islam a bad image because of your character. So, we need to go back to basics. We need to be no-raiders. You cannot continuously belong to the crowd. If others are stealing, you don't have to steal with them. If others are influencing certain things somewhere, and you know that it's bad, let them know you that, Elijah will never do that. Elijah will never do that. So let people know you for your Islam, your principle, and your self-discipline. It takes all this for you to survive in today's Nigeria. Àwọn Yorùbá wọn ní rántí ọmọ ẹni tí ìwọ ń ṣe. So when you cherish your name, you will always be conscious of that fact wherever you are. Then one other thing which I realize is a problem, especially when it comes to corruption, is because of poverty, sir. We all need to be economically empowered. These politicians or these people in authority, they will always come to you with promises of so many things. Now they have started giving rice, they started giving Ankara, they started giving all these salary, they share it for all of us now. Most of us took part of the salary, all these Christmas hampers, and they have their intention. They know what they are after. But if you can just be yourself, you are economically okay. Even when you feel you are poor, you know that with your hard work, you can get what you need. Then you will not always work against your conscience when it comes to the issue of elections. And for the companions at our level. And for companions at our level, we still need to do more. Especially in the area of calling people to Islam, trying to engage them when it comes to empowerment. Let us shun materialism. Let us catch our children young and let us continuously ask ourselves, what footprint do I want to leave in the sand of time? Assalamu alaikum.
My name is Usrah. Sir, in one of the hadiths of Holy Prophet Muhammad, I see that most of what is giving us problem in Islamic today, in Islamic religion today, is our leaders. There are some people that they are ready to learn the true way to salvations. They want to know the right thing, the sunnah of Holy Prophet Muhammad and what the Quran says. But most of those who they see as leader in their society organization today, they keep on misleading them. And if you remember one of the hadiths of Holy Prophet Muhammad, he said, "Sinifani umati, itasola asola ati umati, what is our asaga umati?" So and so forth like that. Sir, please, what are you going to do to put an end to this problem? So that most of our leaders that have misled us in Islamic religion today, they will stop all these bad habits. I know that what I'm trying to say, you have understood it more than the way I'm saying it. You know me to that. Be with you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yesterday we were at a wedding and I saw the MC or a supposed manner saying that he was greeting people with "I wouldn't lie." I have never heard it before. I don't know whether there is some kind of clarification. Because he gave one, he said for the elders, for the women, "I wouldn't lie," and for the men, "I wouldn't lie." So how do we react in such a situation? Because I was really astonished.
صلوا على النبي الكريم. Let me quickly start by saying, informing the audience here today that I take with me 2 types of tracts which I intend to distribute to all as soon as I leave this table for my car. I want to apologize to the criterion because I don't attend companion Usrah regularly. The concept wasn't quite clear. I forgot that on this time the criterion is seated. And when I recognized the Imam and National Amir, I failed to recognize the Amir. My apologies, our Amir. It was when my sister spoke, because I didn't see her. It was when she spoke, the moment I heard the voice, I knew it was her, because she's been our Amira for some time before you took over. I said, so Amira is here. It then occurred to me that the current Amira should be here. So, salam alaikum. One of the contributors spoke about Nigeria's abstinence vote at the UN Security Council a few days ago. And he asked he of course asked about Mourin's role, what role Mourin has played, and he wanted Mourin to play a role. He actually wanted Mourin to speak up and to enlighten us here. Because of time, we may not necessarily need to speak on the Palestinian question here. We cannot traverse the whole problem here. It is too wide. But then I can assure you that I can assure you, sir, that Mourin has taken a step. But we issued a statement immediately after Nigeria's cowardly act, and I put on my galaxy immediately and traced our statement. I think it is entitled, dated 1st January 2015, and entitled Nigeria's abstention at UN vote on Palestine. Long in impunity, short in principle. And it's on our Facebook page, Muslim Rights Facebook page. It's also on my personal Facebook page, Akintola. It's also on the Muslim Rights blog. It's also on my personal blog, it's akintola.blogspot.com. Having said that, one of our mothers asked if we should have to train our children to study Islam. No, it wasn't a question. Our comment was that should we, she believed we didn't have to ask our children to study Islam. The speaker didn't actually ask you to restrict your children to Islamic studies. The speaker asked you to balance up. The speaker also said, if you have about 5 children or 6, it will be proper to let one specialize in Islamic studies. And of course, there was a song I sang here, a ditty, where I sang that is, you have to combine the two. I want to make that clarification. Mr. Sanuwale wanted to know what is wrong with our leaders and what we can do about it. Don't forget that even our leaders already know that no matter what they are answerable, they are accountable. Because Quran chapter 33 verse 68 sums that up. That will be a day when the followers will tell Allah, Inna Tabana السبيل فأعطيهم ضعفين من العذاب ولعنهم لعنا كبيرا. We followed our leaders and they misled us. Oh Allah, double their punishment for them. I think that should be enough for us. One of the problems we have, however, in Islamic circles is that we often have leaders who have no Islamic orientation. They are called chairmen or presidents. In every mosque, there is a chairman apart from the imam. The imam cannot speak. If he does, they will silence him. But alhamdulillah, for the companion, for a group like the companion, they caught the concept correctly. There is no time they will choose an Amir who will not be sound in Islam. Former Amir, I like to do for you. He could tackle issues of Islam problem. The present Amir could do the same thing. At that time, our Amira for the companion before, the current Amira, I may not know about that, but the little I know about the former Amira is enough to convince me that even the criteria follows that rule. You don't appoint somebody who doesn't know about Islam as your leader. That has been the problem among Islamic organizations. But somehow, and the way to overcome it, I've just stated it, is when you are appointing a leader, don't just appoint a rich man. Don't just appoint a powerful politician. Don't just appoint a troublemaker like Akintola. Anyway, I know I am very gentle. People just accuse me unnecessarily. I don't talk. So, I think we should be looking for those who are knowledgeable about Islam. And of course, who are not only knowledgeable, but equally upright. Where you can find that combination, uprightness, that is taqwa, and knowledge about Islam, you have the right candidate. And another question hit me like thunderbolt. That's the last question. She asked outside the subject matter. But notwithstanding, she wanted to know if it was right for the MC to have been greeting people with "A'udhu Billah." It's news to me too. It's news to me, but under the sky, anything goes. You will continue to see new things. But what is new under the sun anyway? That people in the days of the Sahaba, people came to the castle of the Khalifa. They stood in front of his gate, shouting, This is the palace of our Lord, who gives us food, who gives us power. This is our Khalifa. On him relies our life. On him relies our devotion. As if the Khalifa was Allah. The Khalifa promptly ordered the security men to round them up and put them in jail for blasphemy. So that may be blasphemy. But what is also wrong? If he continues saying, I want to be led, he wants Allah to continue to protect him from the devil. He hasn't done anything wrong. So it is not blasphemy. It is just that it is strange and bohemian. It's uncommon among us here. So that's all we can say. There is no fatwa that we can place on him now to condemn that action and say, no, he has committed a sin. No, he has not committed any sin. But that is one of the issues we should ignore. He could be a strange fellow acting strangely, but he hasn't committed any sin.
Please be patient. God bless our brother abundantly. I was actually at the wedding myself. Unfortunately, that was one of the times that I was not paying enough attention. But I heard him saying, I want to be like Allah Koko, I want to be like I want to be like but the I want to be like was one of the printable things or mentionable things from the very many rubbish that the very person said at the Nikah yesterday. I think all of us that attended that Nikah, we finished Maghrib, we spoke about it almost till Isha. We finished Isha, we spoke about it almost till Fajr. But then the one thing that was consistent about it was everything was about money. It was just being dynamic about how to bring money in, and that is what it was all about. It even caused what to share pay if I want to back where on the celebrate as well. So I would be like the final contribution that I want to make is still there. I think that was his question. He was talking about Buhari and that even he may not be able to do anything. You see, I was already in the university in 1983 when Buhari and India overthrew the Shagaris government. And I was a final year student in December 1985 when Babangida overthrew Buhari's government. And I was 22 years old then. So I was old. The point I'm trying to make is I was old enough to be able to talk about those regimes. Anybody that is of my age here will know that Nigeria changed within a matter of 6 months. Nigeria changed for the better within a matter of 6 months. And the suffering that we are now suffering till today is the suffering that commenced from the day Babangida overthrew Buhari's regime. That is what we are going through right till today. How do societies change? We may say that Buhari was a military leader then. That was why he was able to do it. But those who changed Singapore were civilian leaders. They were not military leaders. Those who have transformed Dubai, I was in Dubai in 1989 when the airport was no more than an airstrip. I landed at that airport in 1989 in Dubai, and the airport, one of the best in the world today, it was no more than an airstrip. Somewhere that you just land that you really cannot call an airport. Is it military leaders that changed it? No. The populace takes its cue from the leaders. And it's as simple as that. It was under Buhari's regime that we started to queue for anything in this country. I remember then at Unilag, we used